Hello everyone. We have a game with the black pieces against Liam 5, rated 944. If he moves, okay, he goes knight f3. Maybe we'll get a caro-kann, but instead of starting with c6, let's start with d5 and okay, he goes d3, so there's definitely no caro-kann, although I guess I ruined it with my d5 to begin with, but that's his fault for starting like this. I'm going to take the center if you let me, period, end of story. So he goes d3, maybe he's preparing e4 or c4, and he still hasn't put a pawn in the center. So I'm going to put a second pawn that influences the center. He goes e3, very passive, blocking both of his bishops in, creating a small pawn center, and now we can just develop. We definitely want our knight here, behind our c-pawn, pressuring the center. And now that we have our knight here, supporting e5, we could potentially play e5, creating a very big center, very strong center, but you also have to be careful not to lose those pawns. That's the responsibility of a big pawn center. Okay, so white chops at our center with c4, offering a pawn trade. We could immediately take the pawn, trade queens, and play that ending, but that doesn't look too fun for me. I think I'm going to go with alternative options. If you just develop a piece and he takes, that's perfectly fine for you, but you do lose that pawn in the center and like the connection between the three. So I think I'm going to push past, bypassing his pawn, and if he takes, I'll be able to cement something on d4, which is a nice structure for me because he has this backwards d3 pawn, which limits his space. So if he does take, which way do I want to recapture? I guess, a pawn would be nice there. Stifle his pieces a little bit. Open the diagonal for my bishop. The knight. Let's say he doesn't take. Do I want a piece there? I mean, a piece is definitely nice there. I mean, normally you want a piece, I feel like, but a pawn looks so restrictive on his position. It's almost like a reverse Benoni. So what's the downside of a piece? Let's just say he develops. I'm going to do the piece. If he takes, I'll put the pawn there then, because I don't want to put my queen there and give him tempi and then allow him to push the pawn. I'd rather just cement the structure with just more space. So I'm going to take this way, and now he can't develop. I have a wedge pawn. I have more space. I can play e5 supporting that if he doesn't stop me. Okay, so he just develops his bishop to its only available square. I think I should continue dominating the center with e5, opening my bishop, strengthening my pawn chain. And now let's figure out what we want to do. This is a nice square for a piece, but he'll be able to kick it with b4, so we should play a5 to try to stabilize a piece here, like a knight. Potentially. Since his pawns are pointing this way, he should try to get his play here, as well as try to break down our pawn chain from this side. It is a possibility. He does it before castling, which is brave. I don't want to take and develop his bishop, right? If we push and he takes, we're not really developed, so it's a little weird. So we're just going to let him take. But what do we want to do in the meantime? It's a good question. We'll just develop a piece, and with a threat, it threatens to win this pawn because it's supported twice. So we'll develop for free. He'll probably take. Okay, he doesn't take. He plays an even better way. He just castles, develops another piece. That's nice. Good stuff from our opponent. So do we develop the knight? That seems reasonable. And if he takes, something like this. We're ready to castle next. So let's just bring out the knight to its most natural square. Cover some light squares. And see what white does. Maybe he can put his bishop here and try to go for this diagonal. I can try to counter it with my own bishop, various ways maybe. So he just develops his other bishop, covers the diagonals. Maybe he's gonna play b4 at some point. It all makes sense. I don't see a reason not to castle, so let's go with that. Get our king out of the center, develop the rook. We're ready to play rook e8, supporting the center and the central pawn push. Although now that we have the knight here, we can still push, but we wanted our king out of the way. So he moves his queen, which potentially threatens c5 would be my guess, and further supports this pawn if he wants to move his rook over. But playing like that is way above like a 944 if these are his ideas. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I'm thinking, what if we just attack in the center, e4? If he ignores us, we get a crazy strong pawn. If he takes, we take back, threaten the bishop. That looks fine. And if he attacks our bishop, we can just drop our bishop back one square. And that looks fine. So let's attack in the center. It makes his f-pawn look a little dumber when it doesn't have contact with our pawn, because it's more blocking his stuff than anything else. And now we're just kind of trying to steamroll these pawns. We have some dark diagonal to play with maybe. We can get our bishop out at any moment to one of these squares. Or maybe either long diagonal if we can move our pawn to b6, stopping this threat for one turn. Maybe fianchetto our bishop. Trying to make the moves make sense together. But first he has to resolve this tension. And let's see what he does. He's played very well so far. But we've taken a center focused strategy. And he plays c5, hitting our bishop, intermezzo. I said you could just drop it back, but I didn't even look at if we push or take. Let's look at the forcing options. We get a pawn, he gets a bishop. We get a bishop, he moves over. We solidify. That's bad for him. We get a pawn, he gets a pawn. It's a good spot for his bishop. We push, he gets a bishop. We get a bishop, he gets a pawn. We get a pawn, and that's kind of even. So let's just bring the bishop back and keep our threat on the board of pushing. Creating a connected pass pawn for ourselves, and he's not able to challenge either the front or the back of the pawn chain because he has no pawns on either side. So the fact that these two pawns are past these two pawns means they're unstoppable. if they can get moving. And my bishops look very nice. I mean, they're snipers. Meanwhile, his are too close to my pawns. You don't want bishops to be so close to enemy pawns like that because they can be harassed. But let's see what our opponent does. And we have this square for our knight, our queen. We're going to put a rook to e8. And these are our main ideas, but I think he's surely going to take, right? The problem with taking is not just we're going to recapture with the knight, but we can intermezzo pawn thrust hitting the bishop. But he doesn't do any of that. He supports the b pawn with b4 saying, hey, I'm going to 3-on-2 you. Okay. Interesting idea. But pushing has to be good. Right? Or am I crazy? Or is he just saying, hey, I'll blockade you forever? It has to be good. It has to be good. So we're going to play it. Now we could jump our knight into the center with immediate threats. Or we can try to dislodge the blockader by trading our light square bishop. This comes with immediate threats though, and the only way to defend it is with a weakening move g3, which allows our bishop to infiltrate. So I like improving the knight for free. It also allows us to then follow up with, you know, let's say bishop out and f5, really creating such a strong bind on the center, just dominating. But still very impressive play by 944 Liam. I mean, he's making mistakes, but he didn't hang a piece. He has ideas behind his moves and logic. And his mistakes are kind of, you know, for his rating, really, really good. Conceptually small mistakes. So he's definitely going to climb in rating if he keeps playing like this, which is good. But now he has to retreat the bishop so he doesn't lose it. Not very coordinated. He could potentially try to use this, but we're going to hop our knight in. This knight also can't develop properly. We're currently attacking this f pawn that's out of place. I wonder if our queen was already on g6. Wait, I forgot what I was thinking. Oh yeah, I was thinking of... Okay, wait. He goes queen here, trying to develop his queen before his knight, which is weird. But I guess it's with the concrete idea of attacking this pawn, which is now blocked by my knight. But my idea was to take this anyway, which would uncover the queen's defense again, so it doesn't really make that much sense, I guess. Especially since you can defend it easily. He should probably tried to get his knight out to c4, which looks like a nice square for him. Try to get some activity. Now his bishop is currently hit. So we'll see what he does about that. We can get our bishop on one of these squares to aim at the king. That looks quite dangerous. And he's kind of stuck. Maybe he can go here and then hang this. So that's why he's stuck. He really can't move. Not much to do. I mean, you can't even do moves like this because it comes with check. There's not much to do, but I do like White's idea of this trying to push the 3-on-2. I think that's a cool chess chunk that he knows and was going for. But yeah, that's why he's using so much time. He's kind of stumped. He's like, man, I can't move anything. Can't move any of these pieces. Can't move these guys. My opponent left the game. Oh, come on, Liam. Not like this. Not like this. You see, I wish... Can I flip the board? Is there what... Yeah, flip board. I'm going to show you this from White's perspective. Look how just restrictive this looks to your position. Like, what is your move supposed to be here? And again, I go back to the... You should try to get your knight here as fast as possible to get... try to get your pieces out. So... But I mean, just look at how helpless this looks and feels. My queen's coming to this side. It's just devastating. And it felt so bad that he left the game. He rage quit. But I get to claim victory in 16 seconds. Poor guy. And I have the chat room off. If I had it on, I'm sure he would have had some choice words for me. I don't blame him. Claim victory, and now we can go over the game. So there is no caro-kann. I mean, I could have started with c6, but it's so unprincipled. The caro-kann in and of itself is already a pretty ridiculous opening, all things considered, starting with c6. So I'm definitely not going to do it if they don't play e4. Because e4 prevents d5 unless you want to play the Scandi, but you're down in tempo. So I'm not going to play c6 here because it's a ridiculous move. So I play d5, which is the whole point of c6. But you don't need it. It doesn't need support, so just play it. Don't just play a setup, because that's crazy. Okay, so anyway, we did center and development. And now we do center and development. Development and center. And now you have so many options. You can do center and development this way, just supporting the pawn. You can do center and development this way, supporting the pawn. You can take as a forced move and make him lose castling rights. You can, push like I did. There's different things you can do. So this is center and development and kind of a forced move. You have to do something. And space gain. I'm trying to gain space here. I'm trying to just give him this Benoni with reverse colors. Okay, so you can capture either way. I take with the knight first. If he leaves the piece here, it's just a good piece. And if he doesn't leave the piece here, your pawn's gonna do what happened in the game and be cemented with more space. So forced move. And now black has more space. Center and development. Development and center. Development and center. Now it's saying he should have taken, which I was assuming I would have taken. And then what's his move? Bishop f4 is his best move. So let's turn this off. He goes bishop f4. Queen c7 looks like a move. So queen anywhere or take the bishop. Yeah, I mean, that works too. Take the bishop and castle. But I like, let's say, queen c7 threatening. Takes, maybe rook over. Oh no, then you have this. Okay. So, where was I? Okay, so development and center. And then castle, so that's king safety and development. You see, at all points the computer wanted him to break down our center, because this pawn structure is strong as well as mobile, like I got it moving in the game. So right as of here, it's an even game. That's why I was saying White was playing really well for a 944, like, knowing to play a foreign breakdown. This pawn, the way he tried to push this, it was just really good, from a 940. So kudos to him. But then he made this move and it's a blunder, and it goes from even game to -2. Wow. And it's not because of some crazy, you know, check and win a knight. It's because of the move I played, which is just push in the center. And this is why he was supposed to take. He didn't take. And now he has no good options. It's really cool to know he's -2, and which means he has no good options, whether he takes, retreats, develops, doesn't matter. So he tries to push, which was a good intermediate move. I didn't like the forcing options as much, so I just moved my bishop. And then I thought he was definitely going to take, because otherwise it's just a mobile pawn center. But he didn't. And then it's immediately, makes the eval much worse when he plays this move. So if he takes this, I was saying there might be this intermediate move here. But then he can go here and improve the bishop, defend the pawn. So we don't like that. So we take here, threatening the bishop. We're going to put a rook here. We have pressure here. Queen can come to f6. This looks fine. I like this. But he didn't do that. He tried to push on this side, which is fine in the end game, but we're not in an end game right now. We're in the middle game, and he has to address this issue. So we just push past, and it's -3 just positionally. I'm not up a single thing. He has to retreat, and now center for free, improving a piece for free. And then free stuff, -4. And then he left the game because it was -4. And we have a 94% accuracy game, so maybe he thought we were cheating. Whatever. Either way, hopefully this shows you some ideas. Hopefully this shows you, like, if you play c6 here, what are you doing? That's such a monkey move to make in a position where you can already play d5. It makes zero sense. You cannot make a logical argument for this move in this position. So play d5. Thank you. So you see how we just made all central moves, made perfect sense. Try it in your games. It'll help you when you don't know theory. It'll help you when you do know theory. Good luck in your chess. Submit your rapid games in my Discord. Goodbye.